Hey everybody, coming to you with another video here. I promised you earlier this week that I would go through and debrief for our student-led questions from last week. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try. This is gonna be a little bit of a longer video, maybe. I'm gonna try to go through both TellTale Heart and House of Usher. So you have one less video you have to click on and just watch the one video. You'll be good. All right. Before I jump into that, just a reminder that it's Wednesday, which means at midnight tonight, the teacher-led discussion questions, the part where you answer one of my 4 questions, and then that part is due today for this week. It's on the Dickinson poems. Please make sure you go in there and answer those questions and get that part done so you're not doing stuff late. I want to make sure that we're all keeping up with what we're doing, okay? Before I get started, I do apologize for the light. I know you don't care, but I care. I have a skylight in my office so I can get some natural lighting in this otherwise windowless room. Helps with the depression and all that, but it means that also I get completely washed out if I watch or record videos during the day, which I'm doing because I don't want to work on these at night. So just deal with this. I know you don't care, but that's what it is. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the TellTale Heart discussion. Look at that. This is what I see on my end. Let's walk through it real quick. Chloe asks, do you think that Edgar Allan Poe was creative or psychotic for writing such a riveting horror fiction novel? Well, it's a short story, but we'll take it. I will say this. Why can't she be both? In fact, Elmer says that he was being creative because he had to find many ways to make his stories both gothic and interesting to the reader. That's why he uses so much suspenseful and descriptive language in his writings. I agree. I think he used a lot of creativity in making these stories. I think it takes someone with a very unique mind to put together these stories and understand how somebody who deals with some kind of psychotic or psychosis episodes would deal with it. I think it was interesting. It's a great question. Good job. Jeremy asks, why do you think that he killed the old man after he was saying that they had a good relationship? Pamela said he was just crazy, and the old man's vulture eye was all in his head. Interesting. Our main character was definitely dealing with some stuff, and I think he keeps saying he has a good relationship as a way of distancing himself from his action, right? Oh no, we were friends. We're friends. I like him. It was the I that's the problem. The I, right? So it's complicated, right? It's a little weird, a little different. Good question. Pamela asked if the old man actually had evilness in him and did he deserve to die, or was the author just mentally ill? No one responded, but I'll throw something out here. I think I'm losing my voice, so water's going to help. But I think the narrator perceives evil where he perceives evil. I think that just became an excuse for his own issues and his own complexities. I think the evil then would actually lie in the narrator, right? Not the victim of this occasion. But it's complicated. We don't really know. Good question. What were the 3 biggest contributors to the narrator going insane in the TellTale Heart? Asks Samir. Hey, great question. I like that you have the 3 parts to that question. It requires a little bit more input. I wish we would have had more people respond to this. But Billy responded. Says 3 contributors were the guilt of killing an innocent man, narrator being paranoid when the cops arrived, and the narrator thinking about the old man's eye. I'll take that. I think that's a great analysis. Good job. Billy then asks, why do you think the narrator was hearing the heart of the old man, even when there wasn't a beat? No one responded, but I would say it was his guilt. I would say his own guilt over his actions developed them the heartbeat. Like, it's what creates the heartbeat. It's not actually beating, but it could be, right? Because it's a spooky fiction story and anything can happen. And then our last question, again, nobody responded, but that's okay. Elmer asks, do you think that these readings were somewhat scary or they made you feel adrenaline as you were reading it? That's nice and subjective. It's a pretty solid question. It's less text-based and more about reader input. I definitely think they're creepy. I don't know if scary is the right word, but I think what these stories do really well is make you, the reader, think and explore it. And I think that's where the real value comes from these stories. Great job, guys. That's TellTale Heart. I would love to see more of us responding. It is not too late for you to respond or ask questions here. It is too late for me to do a video on them. I'm not going to come back and do a second debrief video. I don't think many of us are going to take the time to watch these to begin with, but you should. You guys can still do that. I would love for these videos to have to go for 30 minutes because I'm reading so many responses and so many good thought-provoking questions. Right now, I do not have enough people contributing. Let's get on that. We're going to move our way over to the second student-led conversation for the week, where we talked about the fall of the House of Usher. While I get that pulled up, bear in mind that you guys are doing a lot of discussion boards right now. When we finish this unit, we move on to our first novel. Novel will only have one set of discussion boards per week, or the two, I guess, the teacher and student-led. So it'll be a little bit less on that front, but there's going to be more reading involved and probably some other activities that go along with it. Cool? Cool. All right. Follow the House of Usher. Let's look and see what we got here. Longer story. I like this one a little bit more, I think, because it's got more depth to it. The language is a little bit more complicated as well, but I think once you get past that, it's a really, really engaging story. Jeremy asks, why do you think them killing the sister was important to the text? What would happen if they would have left her alive? And that's an interesting question because Chloe answers it. They did not kill the sister. She died to her illness. In fact, I think the whole crux of this story is whether or not she was dead when they buried her, in which case they would have killed her or they didn't and she got out. I don't know. We can't be sure she actually died due to her illness because Nereus only said that they carried her coffin down to the bottom of the house. Therefore, she still could have been alive in the box and someone knocked her out. Oh. At the end of the story, the narrator, the noises they heard was her trying to escape her coffin. Someone did try to kill her though, but didn't succeed. Probably her brother. She says she's going off on a limb. I think that's a good way to interpret this story. I think what we see is evidence that she was not dead when they buried her, and they buried her because of Usher's own guilt and paranoia about his own illnesses and worries about her. So they bury her and she's not actually dead and she claws her way out. That's the noises that they hear. And then she takes her revenge on her brother, killing him. And then our narrator runs off to get out of the house. But like, how much of that is made up? How much of that is she's a ghost? How much of that is... It's all really up in the air and we don't know. And I think it's really interesting to see how we interpret that. Chloe did a great job. Jeremy, was a great question. Samir asks, how does this have a connection to us right now? And nobody responded, and I'm bummed no one responded because it's an awesome question that I want you guys to explore. I'll probably bring that back. Samir, feel free to bring that question back or a similar question back later. If you've not responded to the questions yet, that would be a good one you should respond to, I think. I want to see what you guys say. Chloe asks, do you believe that the Usher family had a real family curse or they have a mental illness? Pamela said they had both. Family curse because after they died, a blood moon came up and the Usher family house fell apart. The events happening in the story were not accidental. I believe they had a mental illness too because he locked his sister in a coffin. Obviously, Roderick was crazy with a mental illness. All right, cool. I want to be careful of us using the word crazy and attaching crazy to mental illness because I think that can be derogatory towards people who deal with mental illnesses. And too many times we just go, oh, he's crazy and walk it off when really like they're dealing with some things. So we should take those into account. Roderick Usher, however, was definitely mentally unstable. Arguably, everyone in the story is dealing with some kind of psychoses. Great response, great question. Appreciate it. I'm going to keep moving on because I don't want to lose my voice halfway through these things. All right. Pamela asks, why do you think Roderick put his sister in a coffin, knowing she was still alive? Why would he just ignore her trying to get out? Billy says to get rid of the family curse, maybe. Cool. He talks, one of the solutions is to die from this illness, and his family would then be over, right? So, he buries her alive, knowing she'd come back, and they die together. Oh, interesting. It was all part of his plan. Okay. Cool. I guess the question then becomes, did they know she was alive when they buried her? And what does that mean? The family curse, if I remember correctly, let me check something real quick. Please hold. Sorry about that, y'all. I got distracted. So that's not what we're supposed to be looking at. It's right here. Wow, professional. Look at that. Cool. That was my teaching license, everybody. Super cool, right? So there are possible discussions of incest in this story as well. Like the family line is of incestuous, and it's all about like staying in the family, right? I'm not going to dive into that too much, and I forget now why I paused the video right there to go check all this, but it's there. Possibly it's up for debate. But that might have been the family curse that the narrator sees as like, this is a problem, like the whole thing's falling apart, whatever. Moving forwards here, I'm sorry for that weird hiatus, y'all. Elmer asks, how do you think stories should be written to be considered gothic? Great question. I think that's what we're exploring for this unit. I'd like to see questions a little bit more aligned with the story itself, but if we can tie that to the story, I'm happy to go for it. And then Billy asks the question we all kind of want to know: why is thou swallowed up by the black lake? Why does it sink into the bog? And is it symbolic, or is it actually sink into the bog, is the real question we have to ask ourselves here. And I don't think I have an answer for that. I think we're gonna have to explore on our own. That's it. That's what you guys gave me. Again, not the whole class, not even a portion of the class, really. I need you guys to be doing this. We need to be making sure we take care of this piece, the stuff. Like it's important. It matters. Good job, everybody who participated, and please continue doing so. Make sure we finish what we're supposed to be finishing this week so we don't fall behind. Remember that next week is spring break. I am not giving you assignments to work on during spring break, and I am not going to be putting out very much stuff for you to do over spring break, but it is coming, and if you are behind, that'll be a time to make up some work, because when we come back, we hit the ground running with we have another week of stories, and then we start moving on to our novel. Cool? All right, y'all. I'm out.